Hello. Just like that. We're live on the internet.
It was almost like you were caught by surprise, Eric.
Yeah, I thought I was muted for some reason, and I don't know. Anyways, yeah. Um,
You're
how's
not
it going?
muted.
I'm not muted. How you doing?
I'm doing. I'm surviving.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
Yep.
So I'm sick. I have a cold, and I just said it as a joke, but I think Mike's gonna do it. I think yeah, we're gonna take a COVID test live on the air. See if I have COVID.
Oh, this is thrilling.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm excited now.
this is good television, right?
Wait, can I put money on it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just standing. I got $100 bill right here.
Oh wow.
I just happen to have it here. I'm not gonna bet money, but oh gee, what am I gonna go with? Are you achy?
No.
Has your sense of smell been affected?
No, I don't think so.
Any stomach problems? Ringing in your ears?
No.
Let's see what else. Do you notice? Do your glands feel swollen or anything like that?
I feel like I shouldn't tell you this, by the way. I feel like this is too much information.
Well, I'm trying to. I'm gonna bet that you are negative. You are COVID negative.
Me too. That's my bet.
So, but I'm now fascinated to have you take the test. I mean, this is riveting.
Right. This is must see TV.
That's right. That's right. Does Eric have COVID?
Find out.
Have you had it yet? You haven't had it, right?
No, I haven't. Can you imagine if I find out right here, live on the internet, that I have COVID for the first time?
I know you're like the COVID virgins are like really becoming rare.
It's people I know. It's me, Kate, my friend Dan, and like that's it.
I don't know. You've never had it. You're vaccinated and boosted, right?
Yeah. But only the third one. I didn't do a fourth.
Yeah, me neither. Although I see my doctor tomorrow. I think he's going to have me get it.
I think I'll just tell him, like, this is an unpopular opinion. Because I was a real COVID evangelist, you know. I stayed home for a year until I got vaccinated. Whole nine. I think now it's watered down enough that we should stop treating people like pariahs when they get COVID. It's a cold at this point. I mean, a bad one, but it's a cold. You know,
it's worse than a cold. I would relate it more to a really contagious pneumonia, and that's the problem.
That makes it sound terrible.
Yeah, but that's effectively what it is, and that's why it needs to still be treated fairly seriously.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, no, you're not always going to be symptomatic, but some of those symptoms, especially, you know, you just never know, right? So it's still a roll of the dice. And you know, that's funny because that was the thing with this from the beginning, is that it was a roll of the dice no matter what. It's just that whatever your conditions were either gave you lesser odds or greater odds, right? And yeah, were those odds high? No. And you and I talked about that right in the beginning. You know, for most people, the odds of you dying were extremely low no matter what. Even if you were one of the susceptible groups, the odds of you dying are still low. But are you willing to take that risk? Like, if I know I had a 1% chance of dying, or you put it in terms of there's a 1 in 100 chance, I don't know if I'm not going to roll the dice on that. So,
but I feel like OG COVID was a lot more serious.
It was. It certainly, yeah. Well, and I had said this in the beginning too, that the typical course of a virus is that
right. It's not exactly what you said it would. You know.
Yeah. It becomes more virulent but less deadly, and that's exactly what it did. So
right.
Very, very predictable. But
Mike's letting me know when he's ready for me. Are we both going to do it, Mike?
I already did mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But you should have done it on the internet. We should have got to see it happen to your face.
This would have been doubly riveting.
Well, we still got to wait for his results.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
So
Here we go.
we'll do it in my nose.
Here comes the swap.
All right, there we go.
This is you get to be the on-air talent here.
Yeah, that's great. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
There we go. Yeah.
Yep. It's a good time.
All right. Yeah.
You're really thorough.
Yep. I'm gonna get the other one. I gotta get the other one. I've done this before, you know.
I know.
A few times.
Yep.
Oh, this reminds me of Total Recall.
Yeah, it does.
Get your ass to my ass.
Right. All right.
Now you got to put a wet towel over your head, Eric.
Right. All right.
There we go. We got a swab.
Good job.
How's your nose feel?
Fine. Probably better actually. Probably cleared it out some. I just gotta do that before bed. That'll help.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I wish I like spicy food.
Now I know they say wait 15 minutes. I know when we tested Lorelei, when we all had it in the spring, hers almost instantaneously went to the 2 bars.
Yeah, I think when you have it, it's serious.
Yeah, the first time I had it, it took like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like, there it is.
There's a joke about the first time taking 3 minutes in there somewhere that you could make if you're that kind of person, which I am.
That's pretty good for first time.
Yeah. You're not wrong. It's pretty good for my last time. Actually, no, I'm 40. I have the other problem now.
I'm sorry.
I take too long now. Yeah, now I'm a pain in the ass.
Oh well.
It's weird. It's like I never had like a good like an avocado. Like an avocado is like, too soon, rotten. Like there's never like a good period.
Right.
That was me. I was one way and then the other. There's no like sweet spot in between. It was really unfortunate.
You know what? The universe can be cruel sometimes, Eric.
What are you gonna do?
Kind of like how it is to Mets fans.
It's like to be a Mets fan.
It does. I mean, I'm literally a part of a Facebook group called "It Hurts to Be a Mets Fan."
God. But you must enjoy the suffering. Something about the lamenting must be enjoyable too.
I think there's a collective catharsis in being able to suffer with other people, but I don't enjoy suffering. No, I don't know. I'm a glutton for punishment. So
my other issue with my cold is I can't blow my nose.
Oh yeah, that's.
I don't have the lung force to blow my nose.
That stinks.
Yeah, so that's also annoying. Right? I can do that. I can suck it in, but that's.
So you can snortle.
Yeah, I can snortle. Yeah.
That my daughter calls it snortling. She's like, because you're kind of like pulling in the snot.
Right.
And it's not really you're not like you're pulling it through. So it's instead of a snort, it's a snortle.
Right.
So
you're not wrong.
So there you go. So you can snortle. Actually, here's your science fact of the day.
Oh, good.
So you have a connection between in the back of the pharynx. You have a connection between the nasal passage and the back of your throat.
Right.
Which the uvula, that little punching bag thing.
Yep.
That covers that opening into your nasal passage.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So that's its job. It's there that punching bag is there to cover that opening when you're swallowing, which is why when you laugh or you do something as you're drinking liquid, you can cause a convulsion in the uvula, which can cause fluid to come back up into your nasal passages.
Nice.
But that connection is also there because and most people are unaware of this, the number one function of your stomach is not digestive. It's immune. The number one function of your stomach and the acid in your stomach is to kill bacteria. So the design is actually there for you to swallow your phlegm and have it go into your stomach to be digested. So that is actually by design meant to happen. So the other thing, by the way, and I remind my daughters of this all the time, especially when they catch me doing it, is that there is an absolute reason biologically why the diameter of your nostril is roughly the diameter of your finger. It is so you can clean it, self-clean it. All primates pick their noses.
As a person who can't blow their nose, let me tell you, that's my go-to method.
Yeah. All primates, but don't feel bad. We are a primate, and all primates pick their noses. Oh my God, I got in to buy Mets tickets for
Look
the
at you.
playoff.
Wait, no, but you know. Why are you doing this?
Because I'm a Mets fan. I'm a glutton for punishment. That's just who I am.
If I had to make a bet, I would bet that you. I'm not even gonna say it, but I think you enjoy being hurt. That's where I'm gonna go.
Yeah. And the thing is, the prices are so jacked up. I'm looking at like for the garbage seats, really for garbage seats,
Right?
$144 a ticket
Jesus Christ!
for a baseball game.
You're not gonna buy those.
I'm not going to buy the garbage seats.
No, you're not. I know you're not. Because you're a Mets fan.
And then my wife is going to
You're a
kill
real
me because I'm going to go for the Excelsior seats, which are get you into the Mike Piazza Club, and I'm going to spend $400 to go to a baseball game.
But for your ticket.
Well, I have to buy 2 tickets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what about Abby's ticket or Sam or whoever? You know.
Well, if I take Sam though, she's never been to the club level, and at the club levels you can go into the restaurants and stuff that are just for that level.
Because when you go with her, it's not worth spending the money. You only do it when you go with your buddy.
No, I didn't know about it. The first time I was in the club level, I wasn't with Samantha, but I got to experience it. And I told her, I said, next time we're going to do this again because it'll be great for you and I. But I don't know if spending $400 just for the right to be able to spend probably another $400 in food, or alcohol is going to really get her excited about going to a baseball game. But
Something I want to tell you. Hey, Mike, while you're out there, ask Kate if I have permission to tell her SeaWorld guided tour experience on the podcast.
what happened?
Well, hold on. I'm gonna make sure I'm allowed to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
All right, good. Yeah, I am. So you're talking about how you didn't realize how good the Mets club level is, right?
Right.
So this may affect you because I know you come to Orlando a lot. Kate went to Disney and Universal over the weekend, and their plan was to go to Universal for, I think, Halloween Horror Nights and something else maybe, and I think for her wedding anniversary, I think that was the plan, right? And they're big Disney people, but have you ever priced out? I didn't realize it was this expensive. The guided tour where you get a tour guide to take you around Disney.
Yes, it's about $5,000 a day.
Yeah, she said it's $50,000 by the time you're done, or maybe 20, maybe or something like that.
It's $5,000. Well, for one guided tour for up to 9 people, it's about $5,000 because you're paying them. You pay them between $350 and $850 an hour, and it depends on the time of year.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, hey, if you've got the money to burn.
But apparently you get let and you go through the back door for everything and
yes.
the front of the line, right?
You go to the front of the line basically for everything.
Which I kind of do anyways because of the wheelchair,
Right.
At least I used to. I don't know if that's the case anymore. The wheelchair used to be a big deal in Disney.
No, it still pretty much is.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, their plans got kerfuffled. It was a long story. So her husband was like, I want to do the guided tour thing for SeaWorld. And she was like, sure, honey, if you want to spend a couple of your grand to do the SeaWorld thing, whatever, I'll go with you. She wasn't excited about it. She was that she was supporting her husband in this thing he wanted to do. She said it was one of the most amazing experiences of her entire life.
That's awesome.
She said that you got through the back door for everything. After the main show had happened, they would give you your own private show where you would have these bus-sized whales performing and dancing just for you and your husband, or her and her husband, and then the researchers were there, and she thought they were going to be like, oh, let's fucking, talk to the rich people while, we have to take a break from our real work, and she said they were super enthusiastic, and they were disappointed they didn't have more questions. They really wanted to be there. And But yeah, it was. She said it was like super cool, and she strongly recommends the SeaWorld. It's a lot less expensive than the Disney one because SeaWorld.
That's crazy.
Yeah, she said it's way cheaper, and she loved it. She said it was incredible.
So what you're saying is I should totally buy these tickets and bring Sam to the club level and be like, see how awesome this is? This is a lifetime experience.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
I mean, who were you going to bring?
Samantha.
Yeah, obviously.
Or someone. Well, you know, I think I told you I bought season tickets, right, for next year?
Did you buy 3 tickets?
No, I bought 2.
No, but I mean right now, the ones you're buying now.
Oh, no, I'm just buying 2.
Okay.
If I bought more than that, she would kill me. She would literally kill me.
Well, I mean, the other person who wasn't Sam that you might have brought with you, they can't buy their own ticket?
No, because it would be Lorelai. I would take
be a child? Okay, yeah.
But
you, Lori, and Sam? I mean, what a delightful outing. To a playoff game?
It's only going to cost $700 to go to a game.
To see the Mets lose in the playoffs?
Oh. Do you know, I don't bet. I'm not a gambler.
I
don't gamble. But I'm mad at myself now because a week ago it came up that what?
Look at this hair. How could it not be a gambler with hair like this? Yeah.
I could have made a wager on the Mets winning the division. And it was the odds were in the Mets' favor. So that meant that I was going to bet on the Braves and maybe make some money. And my thought process was, I'm a Mets fan. I know what's going to happen.
Right.
So why don't I bet on what I believe is going to happen anyhow and make some money on it so that even though I'm going to be disappointed as a fan, I'll be happy that I made money on what was a predictable outcome for my Mets.
It's like hedging.
Right. And I was I was going to totally hedge.
Right.
But
I was looking for the results while he was talking.
But I didn't do it. And now I'm mad at myself because I would have at least made money on it.
All right. You want to see the update on the swab? See where we're at?
Yeah. Negative?
We got nothing.
Nothing so far. But it hasn't been 50 minutes yet, though.
We got 2 more minutes on the test time.
Wait, 2 more for you.
They're not going to be the difference maker.
Yeah, 2 minutes for Mike and 4 minutes for me. So.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that those 2 and 4 minutes are not going to be the difference maker. So, although, did I ever tell you the story of Abby's pregnancy when we were pregnant with Abby?
No.
Okay, so this is a great story. Abby loves when I share this. So, when Samantha got pregnant with Abby, or at least we thought she got pregnant, we were trying, and Sam's like, she's like, I think I'm pregnant. And I'm like, awesome, go get a test. So she goes to get the test and does it, and it does not show the 2 lines. So I'm like, damn it, you're not pregnant. So she throws it out, and she went out somewhere, and it was in the bathroom in the garbage, and the garbage was like full. So it's sitting there on top of the garbage. And I go to the bathroom, and I'm sitting there doing what I got to do, and I'm looking over at the test in the garbage, and I see 2 lines. And I'm like, wait, that doesn't happen unless the actual hormone is there. I was like, it can't happen otherwise. But it didn't show up right away. And then I'm like, but it can't happen any other way. So when Sam comes back home, I'm like, take a look at this. And she sees it. She's like, oh, that's just because it sat for a while. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. I'm like, you got to do it again. She does it again, comes back positive. We were pregnant. So cool. I literally found out my wife was pregnant while I was taking a dump.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yeah.
Thank God you noticed.
I mean, we would have found out.
Otherwise, you never would have had the baby.
That's right. It would have never happened.
Right. You hadn't find out. Yeah.
Right. Had it not been under those circumstances, it totally never would have happened.
The baby would have not again. Yeah.
Exactly. That's how the universe works.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't have COVID.
Mike doesn't have COVID.
Now, do we have another 2 minutes to wait for confirmation that Eric does not have COVID? Oh, look at that.
The drama.
It feels like a lifetime.
Doesn't it?
But it's not. And Eric, you are not gonna. I should have bet money. See, I should have. See, this is why I don't gamble. You know, if I did gamble, I probably would make money. But oh well.
Oh, I had a small world story for you the other day, or you from last night. What was it? Oh, um, this friend of mine, um, that Kate doesn't know her, but she knows that I know her, and she realized through a Facebook post that both of them went to the same concert in Finland in 1996.
Wow.
And Kate was like, "That's she." She didn't say it was small world, but she thought it was the coincidences were was a very strange coincidence.
It's a cool, but it's a coincidence. That's the definition of a coincidence.
Yeah, but it's just very cool,
Right, which I find interesting. Like, if you actually look up the definition of a coincidence, it describes exactly what people think it is.
Right.
But it does not. It does not become evidence of a small world.
Oh, by the way, my friend, my former roommate Lauren Pettick, she had a counter argument to you, by the way, to your small world thing.
Okay.
And my friend Dan has a counter argument about Star Wars, so we need to get you on the phone one day to argue with people on game night one day.
Okay.
But she says when she says it's such a small world, what she means is that the world is so small within the infinite expanse of space that it's just a speck in the and compared to the grandeur of the universe, that the world is just so small and tiny and insignificant. That's when she says it's a small world. That's what she means.
But I would argue that that's not the context under which she's making that statement. The statement that it's a small world is stating that because this happened, right? And so I would argue this to the day I die because I'm telling you she's wrong. So, but anyhow, the statement that you're making is a statement that is based on the fact that because this happened, it's indicative of the fact that the world that I perceive to be actually bigger is not as big as I thought it was because this happened. So you can discount the rest of the universe. The rest of the universe is irrelevant.
Negative.
I'm also negative.
And you are negative.
Still COVID.
So it's merely a coincidence. It is a very large world relative to us and relative to the number of people here. It is a tremendously large world with, again, the norm being you're going to have nothing in common with almost everyone you come in contact with.
Which I think, if you framed it differently, instead of poo-pooing people who are saying it's a small world, I think it'd be better, just FYI, if you said, no, it's actually a giant world, which makes this even more special.
Oh, that's true. It is cool. But that's, Sam says this is when my Sheldon kicks in.
Yeah, if you marketed it properly, you're like, no, actually it's a giant world. And the odds of this are so small, which is why this thing happening is actually way cooler than if it was a small world. Like, you should be glad it's a big world because that makes this thing that we're experiencing right now even more rare and special.
That's so cute. That's so not me though.
But right, that's what you're saying.
You're right. Yeah. And honestly, that is the sentiment that people are actually trying to convey.
Right.
That is the true sentiment that they're trying to convey, just not recognizing that that's the reason they're doing it.
I think what they really are saying, like, this makes it feel like it's a small world.
It makes it feel like it is, but it actually isn't.
Right. That's what I think they're really saying. Like,
I mean, yeah. You could go the other way and be like, if you want to talk about insignificance, let's look at the entire universe and where we stand in it. You want to talk about insignificance? I mean, literally nothing you ever do will ever matter, ever.
Yeah.
It is the definition of insignificant.
Yeah.
And then even people who worry about legacy and even what I've been writing about this for the last week because we're getting close to the 10-year anniversary of losing Reese. And I say that a lot of what I do is motivated by keeping Reese's name alive. But that's purely, that I always say to me that's almost selfish, but it is literally kind of, it's doomed to failure because I'll never, it's Ozymandias. So, and for people who aren't familiar with the story of Ozymandias, he was the pharaoh who wanted to build these great monuments to himself, and that he wanted to have his name live forever in monument form, and discovers through being able to peer through time that the future just completely forgets him, and all the monuments and everything that he ever built just are destroyed by time, and that no matter what you do, no matter what time will win, entropy will win, right? So, and the parable there is to make the best of the life you have right now, and that's what should matter. And I truly believe in that. But conversely, I've got that hold from Reese, and I want to do what I can do because I can in that time. So, there's very little we can do to raise our fist against fate. So, I'm gonna do whatever I can to do that, and then give it some meaning. So
apparently, there's a two-headed worm that lives forever. It's immortal.
Well, nothing can be immortal though. So it's immortality is a misnomer.
Right.
It will outlive.
It doesn't age.
Yeah, I think that's probably a better term. Nothing's immortal because eventually everything will end,
right,
including the universe itself. So, at least as far as we know. But then again, who knows? Maybe they just have to hit reset on the simulation. So,
or we go to another universe.
Right.
But maybe then by the time the universe ends, we've discovered multi-dimensional travel. And
I'm down for that. As I've said, as long as if I can figure out the key to immortality before I die, I'm good to go. So I'm still here right now. I still have a chance to figure it out.
But you're not working on it though.
By the way, speaking of a small world and speaking of the effect that my particular neuroses has on that, I ran into former students on the ferry coming back from Connecticut this past weekend. Mm-hmm. And they came up to me, and I hadn't seen them in about 13, 14 years. It was a pair. It was two sisters. And they were telling me the story. And then it turns out that a woman she teaches with, her daughter is one of my daughter Abby's best friends. And I happen to know this woman very well. And she's like, "Oh my God, you know her?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "What a small world." Oh. Now, this is a kid I had 16 years ago.
Wow.
And stopped herself in her tracks. And she's like, "Oh my God, Mr. Specht, I still can't say it's a small world because of you." And I'm like, but what I should have said, Eric, and you were right. I should have said, no, but, look at how this amazing coincidence brought, let's find the beauty in it.
It's such a big world.
Yeah. And here we are.
That makes this even cooler.
Yeah.
Instead of ruining their moment, make it even more special.
Oh, and I have to come clean.
Use science to make people feel better.
I have to come clean to something.
Yeah.
Another former student of mine who lost her father last year had posted something about grief is just a recognition of love's end. And I wrote the quote. And she wrote back, she's like, "Oh my God, Mr. Specht, that is so beautiful." She's like, "I'm going to hold on to that forever." And I have not had the heart to write that I totally ripped that off from the vision. And now I feel guilty because she thinks that it was plagiarism. I plagiarized the vision.
I told you I sent it to a girlfriend, right?
I know. That's what I'm saying. I did this. I totally ripped it off. And now I feel bad because she thought it was beautiful. And the sentiment is beautiful, but it wasn't mine. It was the vision.
Well, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything is inspired by something else.
True.
You're just a product of the things you've learned. And that's the thing you've learned. You just happen to learn it from the vision.
And speaking of being the product of the things we learn, I think that through our life and our life's experience, we suffer different versions and forms of grief.
So did that student who lost their father, did they say that they knew what it felt like now to be you?
No, but I did have that situation recently. Actually, I had two different versions of it. One version was it was a friend of ours who lost a parent recently, and then had come up to me and said, "Now I understand what it feels like for you." And I wanted to clarify. My gut instinct was, "Oh, well, yeah, I lost my dad 15 years ago." Is that what you're referring to? Because surely you're not telling me that you're referring to the loss.
Right, right, yeah.
The thing is, she met me after I lost my dad. And it was before we lost Reese. And their experience with me has really been post the loss of Reese. So I'm going to make the assumption that it was in reference to having lost Reese. And
Didn't you say now she's in the same club as you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, now we're in the same club. And Lori has this issue as well, where a lot of times, because of how my brain works, I will say exactly what I'm thinking because it's just how I am. It's like, that logical, I almost immediately wanted to say, you're not talking about Reese, are you? Like, you have kids. It's not the same. And what really cemented this home and made me wanted to talk about it today was that I had another person, and unfortunately they say that when you have loss in your life, it happens in threes, which, by the way, is also another confirmation bias. It's not true. You'll just look for threes and then stop at 3, even though there's 4 or 5. Like Samantha did this. She's like, oh, that was number 3. And then another person died. She goes, well, they were actually number 3 because the queen didn't count. And I'm like, yeah, but the queen was good enough to satisfy your confirmation bias until someone else died. Now that fills. I was like, you realize how? And she gets mad at me because I kick into science mode.
People enjoy those things, man.
I know, and I know I'm supposed to give it to them, and not because I do have a habit of like crushing people's hopes and dreams. So
join the club.
Yeah,
that's a club that you and I are both in.
Yeah. And there's a reason why that club doesn't have a lot of members because people can't stand people who do that. Yeah. So there you go. So I
wouldn't want to be part of a club that would have me in it anyways. So
I had someone else though who, again, my wife would count as one of those 3 during that same time period who passed away. It was a parent who lost a child who has known us since we moved in, and she said. It was very interesting that this came up in that same vein, right around the same time that this had happened with the other person. How she said that she's like, when I would read the stuff you wrote and I know everything that you shared, she's like, I felt like I knew how you felt because I've lost people close to me, and I've lost my parents and I've lost friends and relatives, and she's like, I just wrongly assumed that I knew how it felt until she lost her son. And then she became a part of this club that you just don't want to join. And that loss is just indescribable. It's different. It is an order of magnitude. It's several orders of magnitude beyond what you can comprehend. And it never goes away. I hate to say this because it's going to sound callous. I'm okay that my dad is gone. Do I want him here? Yes. Do I miss my father? Absolutely. Do I lament his passing? Yes, but not on a daily basis that it affects my life. Whereas with Reese, no, I feel like a piece of me got ripped away and will never be replaced.
Right.
It's apples and oranges. Actually, it's apples and dog poop. I mean, it's two totally diametrically nothing in common.
I was going to say it's apples and apple orchards,
Yes, it's just not. They're not comparable. And I don't want to say this to be like I'm better than you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying from my experience that you can't make that comparison. And that's the thing about child loss is that unless you've experienced it, you don't get it. And I often have parents say to me, I can't imagine. And that's the other thing I'll call a parent out on. I said, no, that's not true. You absolutely can imagine this happening. In fact, you do. But you tuck that away, and you tuck that away in the security of knowing your child is here and in the reality of the fact that you haven't lost your kid. But that comparison, that point of comparison is someone like me. So that's what you can't imagine. But yes, you can imagine it happening. And you know that feeling. You get a brief taste of that feeling, but you get to tuck it away and realize it's not real. Whereas for me, that shirt came out of the closet and I wear it all the time. And I can never take it off. Whereas you get to tuck it away. And that's the difference. So it is not the same.
Have you ever had anybody compare you losing Reese to them losing their dog?
Yes.
I knew it.
Yep.
Mhm.
I had someone who lost their dog and told me, "Oh my God, I understand how you're feeling. That was my fur baby." And I'm like, "No. First of all, I don't call my kid my skin baby."
Yeah.
So,
It's weird, yeah.
it's not the same. I mean, I've lost dogs. Yeah, it sucks to lose a dog. I miss my dogs. I certainly and what an insult to my father. I'm sorry, I miss my dad a lot more than I miss my dogs. So yeah, I love my dogs, but
Yeah.
they were dogs.
Right.
I love my dad. He was my dad. That's the natural order. I expected him to go before me. Am I sad he's gone? Yes. Was he taken before his time? Absolutely. He was 63. I should still have him here with me had he taken care of himself, but he didn't. So the end. Moving on, right? I'm sorry, but with Reese, nope, never, ever going to be right. And it's not the same. And that pain is immeasurable. It is something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. It is worse than any physical pain I've had, and I've literally had my brain crushed by my own cerebral spinal fluid. I mean, I've been in a coma. I've had 36 spinal taps. I've experienced pain, and I would take that any day of the week over what I went through and what I go through with having lost my son. So when I say it's a club you don't want to be a part of, I mean that, because I don't want that. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I really wouldn't. Even someone I hate. And there's probably only 2 or 3 people I could say that word for.
Not even a Yankees fan.
Not even a Yankee fan.
Yeah, not even a Yankee fan.
Or a Braves fan.
So I was telling you before, because we were talking about this. I've had and mine is more comical, comparison where obviously
it's apropos and it fits.
Right. I was repulsing him in a wheelchair, and yeah, the most famous one is I was in line waiting for my delicious public sub, and if you're from Florida, about the pub sub. It's a time-honored tradition.
I'm not from Florida, and I know it because my in-laws live down there, and I have to say their deli section's fantastic.
No, the public sub is it's a special thing.
It really is, and by the way, their bakery is great too.
Yeah, everything about Publix is great. Publix is amazing.
So there's our plug for Publix, and that was for free.
Yeah, go Publix. Where shopping is pleasure, which is 24 letters. I'm gonna start doing that more often.
It is a freaky talent.
It's a bizarre talent. Yeah, am I right? Where shop? Yeah, I am. Okay. But yeah, so I was at Publix waiting for my pub sub. My chicken tender, mayo, honey mustard, cheese, tomato, pub sub, white bread. And this guy comes up to me, and he says, his name was Robert, introduced himself. I remember he was my dad's name. And he's like, "Hey, just so you know, I'm missing a toe on my left foot." He goes, "So I know how it feels. Like I get it." I just looked at him. I was like, "You're right. You do. I mean, same thing. Really, honestly, virtually identical. Honestly, And he was like, "I know, right?" He goes, "People don't understand how hard it is." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's got to be rough for you." And
I have to. Was he punking you?
No, he wasn't. He was dead serious. And my buddy next to me was like, "What?" Like, I was like, "What are you gonna do?" Yeah.
I give you credit, Eric, because I'm going to tell you right now, if someone did that to me, I don't know. I think it's because I don't have a filter. I would have said something like, "Are you smoking crack?"
Yeah. No, my friend was like, "What? You should have like." I'm like, "For what?" It's funny you're like, "Oh yeah, great." And I mean, I have it all the time. People, will be like, "Oh, you know what? I was in a wheelchair for 3 months once. I broke my femur, and I was in a wheelchair. So I get it." I'm like, "Yeah, man, you do. You really, you know how it is. I'm glad that someone understands. Thank God you're out there.
But yeah,
I get that all the time. People tell me their wheelchair stories. Like, "Oh yeah, no, I get it. I was in a wheelchair once for 8 weeks, and I get it, man. It's real hard."
There's an old saying: you can't judge a person until you've walked a mile in their shoes, right?
Exactly right. Yeah.
Right. So the irony there for you,
right,
until they've walked a mile in your shoes. Well,
I don't walk. I don't have shoes.
Right, that you're not walking in ever.
Yeah.
And for someone to say that someone who's ambulatory and okay, you lost a toe. All right. I mean, I'm blind in my right eye, but I don't consider myself blind because I'm thankful for the vision I have in my left eye. I certainly would never compare myself to someone who's lost all their vision.
Right. Yeah. No.
Which is interesting, though. I did have a former student who was blind, and she knew I was blind in my right eye. And she used to tell me that she felt like she could relate to me better. And I used to tell her, I would be like, sweetie, I can't relate. I was like, I can close my right eye and it's no different, right? Yeah, if I close my left eye, I can't see, but I have an eye that sees and I see. Like I don't recognize I can't see out of my right eye until I close my left eye. Because people are like, oh, is it weird? I'm like, no, because I don't notice it because I can't see. So it's literally not the same at all. But she felt like I could relate with her in that way, and I'm like, but I don't. Like, but it's interesting what people think is. I don't know where people get these ideas of false equivalency and stuff, but it's really fascinating to me that and part of me, though, I think part of me thinks that it's people wanting to be empathetic but not knowing how to do it right. So they don't know exact, like they want to tell you they feel for you, or but they try to frame it in a way that's just no, not quite. Like,
and people like making things about themselves.
Right. Like, oh, I get you. I no, not really. So, I think that's important. I think a lot of times, and this just dealing with people in grief in general. I find that people don't handle other people's grief very well at all, and they often try to personalize it. And no, make it about that other person. Tell them that you feel for them. Don't make it about you. And I think a lot of times people do that, and I don't think it's malicious. I don't think it's done with ill intent. I think it's not knowing how to do it, and that's something you learn, right? And I don't think we've learned that very well in our society. I think other societies are better at it than we are. I think part of this has to do with kind of a Western approach to things, like versus a more Eastern approach in understanding death and relating to it and stuff like that. So, but yeah, don't tell someone you know what they're going through, because honestly, regardless of whatever it is, you probably don't know what they're going through anyhow, because you're not them. So you can show sympathy without trying to show, or I would say empathy is probably the better word, because sympathy means you've been through it together.
Right.
I mean, sim literally means together. I would say be empathetic, but kind of cut back on how much sympathy you think you're sharing if you think that you've experienced this, because you haven't. So, and it's okay that you didn't, and you can still express your sorrow and express your feelings and your hurt too. Like, I know my mom has her own version of this hurt for losing Reese, but I can tell you, and I had the freakiest experience when it came to this. My mom, at first, when I called her after Reese died, she didn't realize it was me because my voice was elevated and I was hysterical. And I said, Richie died, because I called him Rich. I was the only one who called him Richie, because there was no confusion if I called him Richie. So, which is weird. I never called him Reese. And it's funny, in looking back, I refer to him as Reese 100% of the time, yet I never called him that. He was always Richie to me, because I could get away with it without it being confusing. So when I called my mom, I said, Richie died. And she thought it was me. And I heard my mom wail. And it was absolutely soul crushing to hear her, for a brief second, go through what I was going through. And then I said, no, Mom, this is Richie, your son. Reese died. And there was almost relief. And I don't blame her for that. I get it. But that to me is everything I needed to know. Like, it's not the same. Even for a grandchild, it's not the same. there was a relief that her son wasn't dead. So it is a powerful thing, and that connection is, between a parent and their child. And in a way, I'm glad I didn't die, because God, I know what it would have done to my mom, and I know my mom's gone through her own stuff with losing her grandchild. I get that, but that's also not the same. So, but my mom, I love my mom because my mom recognizes that, and she told me that, and she said it's not the same for me. I understand that. He wasn't a daily part of her life. He wasn't her universe, right? A part of it, right? And so special. And grandkids, grandparents will always tell you that their grandkids are super special because it's all the love you have for your kids with none of the baggage. And it's so true, but it's not the same. So stop trying to make those equivalencies.
Did you play the new Guardians of the Galaxy game?
No, dude, I have a list of games that I need to get to that it's getting tremendously long. Oh, and on a tangential note, have you noticed
real fast though?
Now with Cyberpunk?
Hold on, but real fast. The reason I mentioned it is because I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a dialogue choice when you're consoling somebody who lost someone, and you have the option to like make it about you because your character also lost somebody, like Star-Lord's mom passed away, and that's the wrong choice. Like if you even though it's the same. Like their mom also died. You're like, yeah, I get it. My mom died too. Like if you do that, like it doesn't go well.
Yeah, shocking.
Yeah, so I thought that's kind of actually on topic for what we're talking about, which is funny.
Yeah, which off topic is the fact that Cyberpunk 2077 is now suddenly getting great reviews and people are starting to play it.
It's great news because that means they might make a sequel.
Right, and you know what, Eric? It was all because of us.
It was. We held the flag.
Yeah, and we talked it up, and now people are playing it.
It's not the anime.
Right, it has nothing to do with the anime that people are watching. Nothing. That, by the way, have you watched the anime?
No. Is it good?
Dude, there's like you watch it, you're like, oh my God, I've been there.
That's cool.
It is cool. It is cool.
No, I only watch things with people. And so the two things I'm watching right now, or three actually, are House of the Dragon.
Great
or
show.
House Hot D. I'm watching that Hot D, and I just finished Obi-Wan, which was great.
I loved Obi-Wan. A lot of people hated it. I loved it.
It was fantastic.
I agree with you.
And I'm about to start Andor.
Andor is fantastic.
Yeah,
I am in love with Andor. It is exactly what I wanted from a Star Wars story that has nothing to do with the Skywalkers, but it answers questions I've always had. It's fabulous. They need to make more Star Wars like this. Nice. It is its own thing. It's Star Wars through and through. I love it. I couldn't love it more. So good. So good.
Couldn't love it more. Respect.
Yeah, I couldn't. It is my favorite Star Wars thing probably since Rogue One.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm absolutely in love with it. And I love The Mandalorian, but The Mandalorian has a lot of fan service in it. Like, this doesn't need any fan service. It is just fantastic. It is world building. It's great. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Obi-Wan was my favorite. My favorite thing in a long time. It was great.
I absolutely loved Obi-Wan too. And to me, what made Obi-Wan was that final episode, was that interaction between Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Hey. Don't spoil people.
It's been out long enough. You know what? If you haven't watched it by now, too bad.
But you know what? I finally got what I wanted. What I wanted from episode 8 that I didn't get, or episode 9, actually 9. But I wanted from episode 9 I didn't get is I wanted, and because we always get like trainee Jedis,
yep,
right, doing trainee stuff,
yep.
And we finally got to see like a super Jedi at the height of his power doing like super Jedi stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, fine, thank God.
He literally used Force Annihilation.
Yeah, it's great.
So in the Force Unleashed games, in the Jedi Knight games, there was a skill set which was called Force Annihilate, in which you could pick up everything around you and throw it. And Obi-Wan does that. And I was just like, that's what people wanted to see Luke do.
Yeah, I
Yep,
want
they wanted to see Luke pull a starship out of the sky, right? Which of course happens in Obi-Wan as well.
Right, yeah.
But and how do you beat that? And of course Obi-Wan would know. We gotta pull a misdirection. It was a great show, but yeah, some people. My cousin and I just had a long discussion about it. How he hated it, absolutely hated it. I'm like, I don't know what you hated. I was like, yeah, were there parts where it got slow and stuff? But his big thing, he's like, I thought it was going to be about Luke and Obi-Wan. I'm like, I love that it subverted, your expectations.
So
are you makes sense now? None of that makes sense. I'm like, you show me somewhere where it doesn't fit.
Are you around Thursday at 8 p.m.?
This Thursday?
Yeah.
I should be.
So because my friend Dan is adamant that about the canon, that it messes up the canon, and you have a great argument for why it's not. So I want to link you guys up together to
okay,
hash that out.
Sure.
All right.
Well, this was fun.
This is great.
And we had our science fact, so we don't have to rehash it.
I did a COVID test live on the air.
Yeah, it was riveting.
It
Absolutely
was.
Riveting. Yeah. And I'm happy that you're negative.
Me too.
So that makes my day more positive.
I was gonna say, stay positive, test negative.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well.
Are you guys doing Jeopardy today?
I think so. I thought about leaving after this, but I think once I'm up and going, I feel better. So.
I may be able to join you. I'll try.
All right. Cool.
All right. Well, I will. We may have a guest next week, by the way.
Ooh.
So, I'm trying to put that together now. So hopefully I can work it out.
Is it Barack Obama?
Yes. How'd you know?
I've been open for that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Barack Obama and W.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to have them debate the merits of the modern Republican Party.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah, the debate will last about 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Because notice I said merits. So.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was rough, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Notice I said modern Republican Party. I would be a Jeffersonian Republican, but they don't exist anymore. So.
When I watched Ronald Reagan and George Bush Sr. debate immigration a few months ago from an old, presidential debate footage.
Right. It clearly wasn't a few months ago. But.
Yeah. But I watched it a few months ago.
Yep.
I was like, these would be Democrats today.
Yes. Yep.
Because they were they were arguing about who would be nicer to the immigrants.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Oh well.
What are you gonna do?
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do what I do every day. Try to make the world a better place.
Oh, speaking of which, Kate says that you need to make more of the Make America Kind Again shirts because she gets asked for them all the time.
Okay.
And they're the best ones. And
they are. Those were great.
And they feel the best and they're the most comfortable. And
the problem is I don't know. I mean, obviously I have the vector file for the graphic, but I don't know what that sweatshirt itself was fabulous too.
Yeah, that's why she wants it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to look. I got to run into my closet because I have one. I got to see.
Look in your emails for your orders. It's got to be on there.
Yeah, but that was all done through Spreadshirt, so I have to check that. But yeah, no,
I'm sure in your Spreadshirt order confirmation is specified the type of.
Yeah, I did that through Custom Ink, but yeah. I will because that was my favorite shirt too.
Yeah, and she said she gets asked for them all the time, and she would love to send you the business, but she can't because you don't have them.
Yeah, because I don't. Because that was a limited. We do it every year. We do a limited, edition sweatshirt. So, and it makes us a couple thousand every year, so it's nice.
We'll back by popular demand.
Maybe we will bring it back. I will talk to Sam. I know she loved that one too. Everyone, actually, you're not the only one who says it to us. So I definitely I need to do it. You're right.
Well, that's Kate 2 times 1 episode.
All right. Now I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You know what? I'm going to go out and say right now we are going to bring it back.
I'll tell her. She'll be very excited.
And you can tell Kate.
I'm going to leave this office right now. March.
And I'm sure she'll be super excited.
Next November. I'm not going to march because I can't march. I'm going to roll into the next office over. Kate, respect has made a promise. And
I'm a man of my word. We will bring back the Make America Kind Again sweatshirt.
All right.
All right, my friend. I will catch up with you next week, or if not sooner, today or Thursday at 8 p.m.
Maybe both.
All right, sounds good.
All right. May the force be with you.
And also with you.
See you next Tuesday. Bye, y'all.